Pragnananda versus Rajabov. What an exciting clash of generations at the New In Chess Classic of the Meltwaters Champions Chess Tour. Pragnananda was playing with the white pieces, Rajabov had black, and the opening made it even more exciting. On one hand, you have this 15-year-old super talent. On the other hand, you have this amazing player who has played several candidates, won the World Cup, is the best in the world. So Prag opens with d4, knight f6, c4, e6, and as we know, Rajabov is very solid. He plays the queen's gambit declined. Knight c3, bishop e7. Now Prag was of course prepared. Bishop f4, e3, castles e3. What you have to understand is that Rajabov doesn't change his opening systems for anyone, be it Pragnananda, be it Magnus Carlsen, be it any opponent. He believes in his system. So knight bd7 is something that he has been playing. And white goes c5. It's an ambitious approach. You're gaining space on the queen side and you want to continue with bishop d3, castles eventually gain even more space there. So knight h5, trying to win this bishop. Prag says, okay, fine, take it. But if you take it, now e5 becomes even more difficult to manage. And I will go b4 and bolster my queen side space. Okay, Raja says, fine, I'm attacking your queen side. Prag says, I'm defending it. Raja says, I'm attacking it even more. Prag says, I'm defending even more. c6, castles, queen c7. Now, you will see that the f4 pawn is hanging, so Prag defends it. This position has been reached several times, close to 500 times, and Rajabov himself has played it. Many top players have played it. And you will see that the difference in these two bishops is huge. So therefore, what is black's next move? You exchange them with bishop a6. Prag took, rook takes, queen e2. And now we come to an important moment in this position as to where to place the rook. In fact, there are three moves, I believe, in this position. One is rook a8, which is the most common, just bringing your rook back. The other is to move your f rook to a8. And the third one, which was played in the game, which was rook a7. And rook a7, Prag played the move f5. Now, I want to point out that if you went rook a7, the benefit you have is that you can double the rooks here before taking. If you went rook a8, the benefit is that f5 is no longer so powerful. You may ask me, how is that possible? Like, what's the difference? Because both lines this is hanging. Well, the difference is that after bc, okay, white should take back in this position bc. And then black will go for the move e5. And this is a common idea. Because once you play knight e5, and let's say d, then I play bishop c5, and black is doing excellently in this position. The question is, when you take b takes c5, what happens if I take on e6? Well, after fe6, I take with the queen, and now comes king h8. And imagine if the rook was on a7. Okay, this is a huge difference. So what I would do is queen e7, and now the f3 knight is hanging. Okay, but first I will bring my rook to e8. You go to, let's say, h4 or g5. Both squares are okay. And now I take. And you will notice that this knight is hanging. So you have no time to continue. And black is doing very well in this position. Okay, after rook takes f3. Now in the same position, if we go to rook a7 and I play f5, if you take b takes c5, I will take here, check, king h8, queen e7, rook f3, and now you do not have time to take this guy here because there will be a back rank mate. It's a subtle difference. So I can even go king g2, and if you go rook f8, I will just take back b takes c5 with a clear advantage for white. So that's the reason why f5 after rook a7 is much more powerful than after rook a8. Just so that you know this small difference. Okay, f5. Now, a takes b4 was played by Raja. He could have also tried for the move e5, and I believe this is a much better move in the position. But Raja followed maybe a game of Firouzja and Nakamura. This was already his preparation. He took, and now went for e5. In the game versus Alireza Firouzja and Nakamura, it continued b takes c5, and Nakamura here Alireza took back, but I think it would have been much better to kind of take on e6, and Firouzja would have had a winning position here, because after takes, queen takes, let's say king h8, already this is hanging, because there is a back rank problem here. Check and game over. So that's the reason why Radjabov improved with the move e5. Now Pragg said, okay, I'll take the pawn. Knight takes, d takes. And here is a pawn up. So in order to make that count, you must take b takes c5. Now if you take back here, I'll take with the bishop, and black is doing fine. So Pragg pushes the pawn to b5. Very good move. And this is also played before. Yeah, this has been played before in Ding Liren versus Matlakov in 2012. So it's an old line. cb5, knight d5 would come, and that would mean white would be clearly better, because look at this, very strong center control. So therefore after b5 he went d4, hitting the knight. Now if Pragg moves his knight, let's say he goes to e4, then the trouble is that black will take queen takes e5. So Pragg has to deflect the queen. So he played the move after d4. What did he do? b6. It's like, I'm attacking your queen. Now if Raja wastes his time with queen b8 trying to keep an eye on e5 pawn, then Pragg will go knight a4, and this is a very strong pawn on b6. So he took on b6, knight e4, and now f6 ideas become very strong. So he played the move f6 here. Maybe instead of f6, rook e8 can be considered, but still it looks like white's position is very, very dangerous here. Like Ding Liren versus Matlakov continued queen d8, f6, gf, queen g4 check, king h8, rook a7, very good play by Ding Liren, fe5, and queen f5, putting so much pressure, although he is three pawns down. Rook d7, queen e8, and here queen e6 was played, but maybe in this position, if knight d6 would have been played, it could have given white excellent chances to win after rook takes e7, this position. So Raja, thinking on the board, came up with f6, and Pragg gave a check on, he pushed this pawn. I was thinking that this check would have been nice, because after king h8, he can not push, he can just come in with his queen to e6. And then after, let's say, queen c7, I can play ef. Now bishop f6, let's say, I'll take the c5 pawn. So that should be better for white. If you take with the pawn here, let's say gf6, then it's already slightly weakened. I can enter with rook a6, and Pragg seems to have a very good pressure on the position. e6, now Raja is in his element of defense, very good, very strong. He plays queen b5, queen a2. Pragg wants to enter on a7. Queen d3, nice move. Also possible was c4, hitting the f5 pawn, leads to similar kind of positions, but queen d3 makes sense. Queen a7 takes, queen takes e7. All of this is forced. You take the pawn on f5, and now Pragg played h4. I like this move, guys. This move shows Pragg's intent to fight, because if he went rook a7, it's an instant draw after check, king g2, check, and you cannot come out of the perpetual check. Even if you go to h3, I have queen f5 check, and it should be a draw. So therefore, here, h4 is like, I want to create a luft for my king on h2. Whenever you come here, I'll go to h2. Raja went queen g4. Now the rook jumped in. And Raja said, what are your pieces doing here? I don't see it. The g7 square is guarded for now, so I have nothing to worry. He played h5, so that h5, h6 doesn't come in the position. Now he's all ready to push his pawn down the board, the d pawn. So rook d7 by Pragg. and Prag wants to play rook d8. Now, you have to understand the gist of this position. Black is slightly in trouble right now because Prag has a very simple idea: play rook d8, exchange it, and push the e pawn to queen. So black has to create counterplay. Now you can't create a counterplay with d3 because the pawn will be simply taken. So therefore, here you have to play, let's say, queen d1 check, king g2, and queen g4. Now you might think, what is the difference here? You just gave a check and came back. But the big difference is that next move, I want to give a check to you, and I want your king, if it goes to h2 or g1, I want to come to e1, okay, and I want to attack the f2 pawn. So let me give you an example. For example, here after rook d8, I'll give you a check. Let's say king h2, or even if you play king g1, I'll now give you a check, king g2, check. Now you have to go to h2. Then I will take, queen takes, king h7. You will push the pawn, and I'll go queen e2. And this is a perfect drawing mechanism here for black. Even if you queen, I will take, say, let's say you queen in this position, I will take on f2, and this is a perpetual check. Check, 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 and it's a draw. But in this position, if you play, let's say, queen e2, you don't queen, you play king g1, I'll give you a check. If you go king g2, I'll give you a check. So there is no way. This is the perfect circuit here for the queen to be here, here, and keep checking on these three squares. Whenever king goes to h2, you come either to e1 or e2 and attack the f2 pawn. So if you look at what happened in the game, he went rook a8. Now you will see that this is a waste move because after check, check, the queen is not in the perfect circuit to come here, here, and here to attack. So what happened was, after king h7, Prag simply pushed the pawn, and Raja realized, oh my god, there's no perpetual. And what did he do? He had to resign the game. He's one tempo too short. Like, let's say if you even give a check, I go king g2. What do? You come here, I already am making a queen. By this time, you should have been attacking the f2 pawn with the king on h2. You should have given a check, pushed my king to h2 and come here, so that even if he queens, you can take the f2 pawn. So that was where Raja went wrong, and that is where he lost the game. Actually, there's a very interesting move here. Instead of queen d1 is queen g6. Same concept, guys. Same concept. Rook d8, you take, king h7, e7. But now you enter the right circuit with a check, king h2, right? If king g2, there's queen e4, king h2, and now queen e1. You see, f2 is hanging. And if you come to save it, then I give you a check, check, and a draw is there. So this was a draw, but Radjabov was slightly careless there, or just lost his concentration, and Pragnananda won the game. But I would say a highlight of this game was definitely the opening preparation. A line which was very well known was Prag played confidently there. And secondly, this move h4 I liked very much, which was at this point after queen f5, the move h4, which shows that Prag wanted to continue the game even if for a few moves longer and not take an instant draw. This is Sagar Shah signing off. Hope you are enjoying the coverage. Take care. Bye.